Here's Susan. So you have a pretty good reach forward. You're reaching down on a number of the strokes, so when you enter, you sort of enter and then go down a bit. So you want to reach and then reach forward, and while you're reaching, you can try to roll or rotate a little more. So you're not getting a whole bunch of rotation at the moment.
You raising the head when you turn to breathe. Just the.
With a lot of the strokes, you're sort of finishing early. See how you're coming out right at your hips or even before your hips. So you don't get a whole bunch of power from the second half of the stroke, but you do get some. So you could try to work on pushing through the stroke, pushing all the way through the stroke. Your legs are a little low, not terribly, but just a little bit. Now as your catch improves, as your stroke improves, your legs will come up some just because you're going a little faster.
You keep going.
And when you turn to breathe, you're lifting up. You're lifting your upper body up somewhat. So if you can even that out, or as you turn to breathe, you basically don't lift your head. That's going to help your hip and leg position as well.
That right arm, more or less a straight arm.
The underwater portion we'll see when you get the underwater video.
It's kind of the second
But
best way to swim, so that's not bad.
You're really doing mostly a straight arm pull, meaning that your upper arm and your forearm stay in one line, at least through the first half of the stroke.
And your left arm.
So, and the other thing that's going on is when you're turning to breathe over on the right side, as you breathe, your left arm pulls under your body. You see how that did that? So when you pull under your body like that, you're going to lose a little bit of power, but in the open water, you're going to pull off to the left side. So you would wind up veering left in open water just because of that. So you can try to work on either A, delaying your stroke when you breathe so you don't start pulling until your head starts to turn back into the water, or B, the harder thing would be to try and pull your shoulder back as you turn to breathe while you're pulling. That takes a lot of practice, so I would recommend A, which would be just delay your stroke whenever you breathe. Just pause a little bit. It's not going to slow you down much. It'll help you swim straighter. So what you can look at here is the amount of rotation that you're getting, and what you want to see really is that that front arm really pushes forward, and the finishing arm is really pulling back. So you probably have 20 or 30% room for improvement on the rotation. And when I'm talking about rotation, what I'm really trying to get you to do is push that front arm forward so you'll get more extension. Your extension's not bad, but if you look in between your shoulder and your head on both sides, there's a space or a gap. So you want to push your shoulder until there's no space in between your shoulder and your head when you're reaching forward. So looking at your right arm, see it angles down a little bit as soon as you enter the water, and then really sort of a straight arm pull. You're getting a little more of a scoop or a catch at the beginning of the left arm, with the exception when you turn to breathe, it's pulling under your body. So the left arm is a little bit of a technically better pull at the very moment. So with both of these, provided flexibility and things like that aren't a problem, you're going to want to work on the high elbow catch. We talked about that in the session. That's where you reach forward and then your hand and arm or hand and forearm angle vertical while your upper arm is still directed forward or over your head. The one arm drill is a real good drill for that. Catch-up drill, where you pause, so your hands pause up in front, and then you really work on two things with catch-up. You think about extension, and you think about trying to get that high elbow catch. The catch motion initiates in your shoulder. It's like a forward shoulder shrug or shoulder roll, and that'll help externally rotate your elbow and get your hand and forearm into the proper position. The reason you want to do that position is because the sooner that you can get a vertical forearm angle, the more water you're going to grab with each stroke. the line you're pulling here is fine. So you're pulling mostly straight back, except see how that left arm pulls under your body when you breathe. So in this one, we worked on trying to reach forward more.
Keeping our reach more forward as opposed to going down. Especially
So you can
with the
see
right
you're
arm.
already extending your reach
And then also trying to think about the finish.
and to a little bit of an extent just by virtue of that.
Final phase of the
Your
stroke.
rotation is improved. So that's really just thinking about reaching forward as opposed to entering and then starting the stroke, or entering and diving down a little bit.
That looks better.
This is the one arm drill. And so with this one you can use a pull buoy, one of those flotation devices.
Am I doing it all right?
Would you mind switching arms so that I could see the arm that's pulling? That looked right. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you use your
Feels really weird.
yeah, that's normal. There you go.
And here you're having a little bit of a harder time just breathing on this side. But with both of these arm drills, you could use the pull buoy, and then it'll let you just think about what your arms are doing. So you don't have to rush it. You can just really kind of concentrate on the motions. Go 1, 2, 3, extend, roll your shoulder, catch. So this is a slow-mo of right arm. So what I'm looking at is the angle of the upper arm and forearm, and so see how it's just one line through here. As you improve your stroke, what'll happen is that hand and forearm point down towards the bottom, but the upper arm would still be directed forward. So you probably can get, honestly, you could get 20% more power just by improving that catch. So I mean, you literally could get 15-20% faster just by doing a better catch. And then at the finish of the stroke, see how your hand comes out really close to your hip. If you can push a little further, you'll get another little bit of thrust out of that. And then with the left arm, notice also how your body is pretty flat here, so you'd want to be rotated more to the side. And you get a little more catch angle there. So see how your hand and forearm are just pointed down slightly more than the other arm was. And then here, this is what's called an elbow slip, as your elbow starts to lead the stroke back. So then you've given up a bit of traction on that arm. So the beginning of that stroke was better, and then you got a bit of elbow slip, which is worse. So really do a lot of one arm drill, catch-up drill. Think about the stroke mechanics when you're swimming, just a regular workout, and work on the rotation or extension.